Hello, welcome to Watching for a Friend, where I watch movies and shows because I love them and let you know whether it's worth watching or not. If you are new here, thank you so much for choosing this video, and I hope that you stay till the end. If you're returning, thank you so much for watching me again. I really appreciate the support. Now, this week, not even this week, I work in healthcare, so this time has been very stressful. This time has been very draining, and these past couple of weeks I actually haven't had the energy really to film any new videos. The last video I did was about 2 weeks ago, and I'm back now because I actually am energized, and let me tell you why. It's because my favorite show of all time is back. I absolutely love Insecure, and we need this right now. The last episode aired in fall of 2018, so it's been nearly 2 years since we've got a new episode of Insecure, and I'm so excited to have this series back and some new episodes during this time. It's really brightening things up for me. So let's go on and get into this review. Now, before, for those of you who have not seen the episode, this will contain spoilers, so I highly recommend waiting until you've seen the episode, and then we can come back and chat about this. For everybody else, let's proceed. Our first opening scene is the aftermath of this block party that Issa started getting together in season 3, kind of mid to late season 3. And we see that it looks like it was a success. There's no people, it's deserted. It looks like there was a stage, food trucks, looks like it was a big celebration. So from the aftermath, it looks like it was a hit, and I'm really excited to see see it in action. It looks like it's going to be a really nice event. Now, the first speaking that we hear is Issa talking on the phone to someone mysterious, and I have some inklings about who I think that will be, but it's not revealed who she's speaking to, but she's basically telling this person on the other end of this phone that she and Molly are no longer friends. And if you've seen previous seasons, we see that they've had their ups and downs. They go through times where they're not speaking quite a bit. Will this be the end of their relationship, of their friendship? We don't know. But if Issa's really saying this might be very much the end of their friendship, which sucks because I love their relationship as best friends, but it's not without some issues. They have a lot of issues around communication. They're two very different people, and they have different strengths. So we'll see if this is something that they can make work through their 30s. Now, as far as who's on the other end of this phone call, I suspect that it's one of two people. I suspect that it is either Lawrence or Nathan. The reason I think that it might be Lawrence is because Lawrence always makes a point to ask Issa about Molly and how Molly is doing. He's the only one that really knows the, extent of their relation, their friendship. And, anytime he sees Issa, he always asks about her best friend. And so when I'm thinking about this phone call, it sounded like somebody specifically asked how Molly was doing, and she said, well, to be honest, me and Molly don't mess with each other like that. Now, the other person that I think it could be is Nathan, and I'm thinking, obviously Nathan's not completely gone, even though he's not in this episode, and it looks like Issa is being very intentional about removing him from her life. I don't think that that's going to last very long. I think she will run back to Nathan eventually because they had such great chemistry and the loose ends didn't get tied up. So it could also be Nathan, who also to some extent knows Molly's, knows Molly pretty well. And Molly is the one that told him to stay away from Issa, so he may, and she's friends with his roommate, so he may also have some concern with Molly. And those are the only two people besides Kelly and Tiffany that I think would ask Issa about Molly specifically. So that's why I think that it could be one of those two people, but we don't know. It could be her brother. It could be anybody else in that mix. In the first scene with Molly and Issa together, they're doing a self-care Sunday. Again, they're such friend goals. Like they are best friend goals. So I would hate to see them completely not be friends again. But again, that's just how things go in your late 20s and 30s. You lose, you win some, you lose some. They use the scene to give us a lot of exposition about what's happened in the time, since the last time that we saw them. We find out that Molly is still, dating Asian Bae Andrew, and they're going really strong and she likes him, but things are still very rocky for her at work and stressful. We also find out that Issa is still unemployed, but is really happy with where she's at in life and really happy to be focusing on herself and making sure that she only has positivity in her life. So it's really exciting to see them together. Also in this scene, you'll notice that she is wearing a Slauson shirt from the Marathon clothing store, which is Nipsey Hussle's store. And Nipsey is so quintessential LA that I love that they, put that in their first scene, like a Marathon clothing store shirt as a tribute to Nipsey, because he is just so very much a part of the LA culture. And I thought that was really great nod to the fact that he's still very much alive in the LA community. So I loved that. And since they didn't air any new episodes around that time, I love that, even a year later, they're still showing him love. So I love that just because I was like, yes, this is what LA, that whole, he's so LA. And Issa's so LA. So it makes sense to me that he would be in their very first scene. So yeah, I love that they did that throughout there. I'm pretty sure they'll probably have some shots of his store or his old neighborhood, throughout the show, just because I feel like, she's going to want to make sure that he's very much woven into the story that they're trying to tell about the community, which we'll talk a lot about in just a moment here. We also get a glimpse of what their binge-worthy show is, the show within a show, and it's called Looking for LaToya. It's kind of a true crime mystery show. Ray J makes an appearance in there as her boyfriend who they believe murdered this girl LaToya, and so it looks like it'll be fun just to see the show play out there. And they usually show the whole thing at some point, so we'll see what happened from the beginning of this story to the end, where LaToya is, who killed her, things like that. So I thought that was cute because we have a lot of true crime showing up right now, especially with Kim doing her crime show on Oxygen. So I thought that was a great way to tie in what's happening in the real world into the show. I love how they do that. It's so genius how they do that. Just phenomenal writing. I'm obsessed with their writing. They do so great. The next thing I want to talk about is Condola and Issa's friendship / business partnership. I really like them together. They have a wonderful business partnership. And even though we know Condola was dating, went out on a first date with Lawrence at the end of last season, I was still really excited to see how Issa and Condola's relationship or business partnership grows. And they really are really good together. And it sucks that, there's going to be drama woven into this. But as far as the business partnership goes, I really like that they have these two Black women getting together as business partners and making this event happen. And she really is empowering Issa and showing her, kind of how to handle her creative energy and channel it into business. Whereas Condola is she's very reserved, and Issa brings out a fun side of her. So I really like that. I don't know where they're going to go with this business / friendship, but we will see. Now, furthermore, moving into the drama, okay, so when Issa and Condola find out that their connection to Lawrence is through Tiffany, and Tiffany plays dumb, I'm so over Tiffany. I'm so over her. And I know we all have people like that in our lives. At some point we have these friends that, we don't know why we're still friends with them. And then they do things that prove why we're not still friends with them. But I'm so over Tiffany and her issues with loyalty. And this proved it. So I hope that they realize that, Tiffany is the only person Tiffany is really seems to be loyal to is her husband and nobody else. And even though she's supposed to, she's friends with Issa and she only knows Lawrence through Issa, she still tends to, take Lawrence's side, which I'm not a big fan of. It's like you can either be neutral or don't. Like really clearly take a side and split off your friendship with Issa, or be neutral like the other girls. They're very neutral when it comes to Lawrence, and then they allow Issa to vent, or they show her support. But they know Lawrence isn't a bad guy, so they're not going to talk, they're not going to act like he's horrible. They really do take a neutral stance while still supporting Issa. Tiffany absolutely takes a stance. She's not neutral and she's not serving Issa in any way. So we will see where their relationship goes. I hope that they, kind of go their separate ways. But that scene was really awkward. And I really wish somebody would have checked Tiffany on that. I wish either Condola or Issa would have checked her. But Condola, I think, is a little too professional to do that. And Issa is too much of a nervous wreck, and she's too fumbly to handle that in the moment. So it is what it is. But I hope at some point in the season, Tiffany gets checked. So I do want to talk a little bit about Condola. Condola is played by Christina Elmore, and I really like her and Issa's chemistry on screen, but that is probably the extent of her acting. I think that she still seems pretty green. I haven't really done enough research on her to know if she's done, stage acting, screen acting. I know that I am seeing her face a little bit more often on screen, but, I think she still has a ways to go as far as her acting skills. I don't see a lot of chemistry when she's on screen with Lawrence. He actually tends to overshadow her acting wise. She doesn't seem as natural. She seems a little bit robotic and stiff on screen when she's with Lawrence. And the only person that I really see her have chemistry with is Issa. And I feel like it's because Issa makes her very comfortable. So we will see. I'm not a huge fan of her acting, unfortunately. We will see if she gets more comfortable throughout the season. But as of right now, compared to this cast that have been together for years and have very natural chemistry, I don't think she's as cohesive as the other actors and actresses. And it's interesting because we have Andrew, who came into the series around the same time as Condola. He came in toward the end of season 3, and he actually does have that chemistry with Molly. He has chemistry with the rest of the people on screen, and he does blend in rather seamlessly, and it seems like he wouldn't because he's Asian, he is a man, and it's a primarily female cast, but he really does blend in, and he has that chemistry with each person, and I like his acting. With Christina Elmore, I really want to see more from her, so we'll see if she gets any better, especially with direction throughout the series. But as of right now, I'm not a huge fan of her acting outside of when she's alongside of Issa. Now, speaking of Andrew, Molly is still hanging out with him, and they are going strong. They have really great chemistry, and I think that this is a great snapshot. The few scenes that they have together is a really great snapshot of the arc that we need to see from Molly. So her issue from day one has been that she is not a great communicator. She has walls up especially when it comes to relationships. We see why she's single. She's very good looking. She has her life together. She's pragmatic. She's also fun. She knows how to code switch And so she seems like she has it together, but then when we start realizing that she is a very, very bad communicator when it comes to her needs, her wants in a relationship, this is where everything falls apart. Even when, she's gone to therapy for a very long time, but still has the same walls up, not being able to articulate and express what she needs in a relationship. So where we see this most is in a conversation that she's having with Andrew about seeing other people. She thinks they're exclusive. Andrew's actually still seeing other people for the time being, even though he has acknowledged that they're dating. But instead of expressing her needs, she shuts down, builds that wall right back up, and freezes him out. And we see this happen in an instant. So it's so cringy to watch, because I know I've been there, we've all been there, and then we've also seen people that we love go there as well, where it's like, oh, that wall is coming right back up. But it's so frustrating because Molly has been doing this from season 1, and we are now in season 4, and she's still doing the same stuff. And we've had a 1.5 year gap in between. And I'm like, oh, so this season better be the season that she learns how to communicate. I swear this has to be the season where she learns how to communicate, because she's going to lose out on this really great guy. And she's also going to continue losing out on her friends. Another way this was illustrated is that once she gets upset at Andrew, she obviously immediately wants Issa's input. Issa is in the middle of an event with tons of important people where she's trying to fundraise, and Molly wants to talk about her minute relationship issue right there and right then, and she wants Issa's attention right there, fully on her, when she has this entire event going on around her that she's trying to manage. And it just shows that Molly is in a weird place. Now, they both have their selfish moments. I'm not gonna lie. There have been times where Molly has come to Issa's rescue as well, but in this moment, given that she being professional is very important to Molly, she should have known better than to try to bring a relationship issue to Issa when she's already Issa was already very nervous about this event going off without a hitch. Things are starting to break down, and Issa's trying to manage it all, and Molly's concerned about, this conversation that she had in the car with the guy coming with her, while this guy is still standing there, trying to support Molly. And so it just shows that Molly really has some work to do on herself. Kelly, on the other hand, is, she's been there primarily for comic relief. We did see an inkling of a deeper layer last season at Tiffany's baby shower, where she actually did show some pretty strong emotion about feeling like her and Tiffany's relationship was changing for the negative. So I would love to see more of that from her this season. I hope we see a little bit more about Kelly's life, because she is kind of mysterious. But even in this episode, she just brings so much fun to this series. Her character is so valuable. And her wit is so smart. I really want to see her write her own series. But if not, if we could just get a little bit more from Kelly, a little bit more about her life, I would love to see her get closer to Issa as well. So I hope we start getting a little bit more layers to Kelly, rather than just the sassy fun friend, and we start seeing a little bit more of a realistic side to Kelly, because we are getting glimpses of that from the other people in the series. So we'll see what happens with Kelly, but I mean, she's literally my favorite character in the entire series, so I hope she goes nowhere. I hope she stays and she keeps her comic side, but I would love to see a little bit more about her life and what she has to offer Issa. So the last thing that I want to talk about is Issa's venture, this block party that we've been hearing about for, half of last season, and now this season is kicking off with this, starting talking about this block party. This block party is really showing us that Issa is a creative. She's a true creative. And the block party is this outlet for her. So her vision for this block party has been very ambiguous up until this point. She hasn't really been able to articulate it to her friends. She hasn't been able to articulate it to the public. So last season we saw her talking to the woman at like one of the city planning offices, and she's like trying to tell her about this block party, and this woman's just poking holes in it the entire time. So we start off the season and Issa's vision still isn't clear to no one, but that's the cool thing about her and Condola's partnership, is because Condola, it really shows that Condola's strength is in like her project management and being able to bring this very broad vision of Issa's to life, and she's able to, you know, project manage it so that it, you know, she can narrow it down to exactly what Issa wants, but also still make it lucrative, right? So we see that there actually are pretty high stakes if Issa were to lose Condola. And because Condola is really helping her to nail down this vision and make it come to life. For the first time, this vision of Issa's becomes clear to everyone. So at this party, she is kind of going around lying to people about what this, you know, her vision, she's not making her vision clear. The character Trina actually calls her out on it. She's like, you're being very, you're keeping all the details to yourself. I don't even know what you are picturing. Can you please articulate what you're, you know, picturing? And that, she didn't say it in those exact words, but that's what she said. She called her out on not actually sharing her vision or being able to articulate her vision. So throughout the party, Issa is going around trying to fundraise, trying to get these people to buy into this vision, but it's still very ambiguous. So finally, the arc of that particular episode is that Issa gives this really heartfelt speech that shows everyone what her actual vision is. And it's so cool because Kelly's like, I actually know what she's doing now. I actually see what's happening. So she makes this really wonderful speech about this block party being born out of her fear of gentrification, which is a real thing. They even in the episode mentioned Oakland, which is my hometown, where I was born and raised, and how gentrification has completely changed the entire identity of this city. The reason that she wants to do this block party is so that she can preserve and uplift the culture of her community. And that's when she started getting people buying into her vision. And she wants, you know, her community, the Black and brown people in her community, to be a part of these changes rather than these changes being against them. And I just thought that was such a powerful message, because we are seeing gentrification taking over Black and brown communities and, you know, being completely eradicated. So so now her vision is very clear. Everybody sees it. People are buying into it. They know this is going to be a success, and she's got people behind her. And this is going to be huge for her character arc, because she's going to start becoming more and more confident in how she's expressing herself. And I think even after this block party, she will find that she has to be doing something creative. She's a wonderful creative director, and she just needs people to hone in on her vision and get her to nail down what that vision actually looks like. Yes, I don't want to forget about Lawrence. I think he is a very important character in this show. So I can see he and Condola, I could see them even kind of trying to marry them off or get them engaged and married off, and then he leave the show. I think that's something that would make Lawrence Hive really happy, because he gets the girl that he wants and deserves. I think that would wrap up his story really well. I don't think that he and Issa should get back together. I think they are two very different people on two very different paths. I think they recognize that as well. I would like to see them be friends, because I think, again, just like she brings a lot of fun to Condola's life, she brings a lot of fun to Lawrence's life. So I would love to see them work through this and be mature. But, you know, again, this is a drama series, so there will be some drama in some way. And I don't know if that means that they will eventually have to cut each other out of their lives. But I hope not. I want to see what happens between Lawrence, Issa, and Condola. I'd love to see them like have a friendship, and, you know, Lawrence and Condola get married, and he gracefully gets off the show, because he is doing a lot of he's doing a lot of projects outside of Insecure, so I don't know that this is something that he will continue to do for a very long time. We will see what this season brings. I'm so excited. I have so much more to say, but I'm going to try and do this as a series so that I can, hear from other people who love the show as much as I do. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and start these conversations. What are your theories based on this first episode? Where do you think do you think that Lawrence and Issa should get back together after 2-3 years now? It's been a while. What do you think about Molly? What do you think about Tiffany? Do you want to see more from Kelly? What do you think about Andrew? What do you think about Nathan? What do you think about the TSA friend that Issa has now? So let me know in the comments what you think, and I will see you next week to talk about episode 2.